What a morning. It's been crazy. This integration is intense. It's worse if you have a partner because there's almost like three entities involved. There's you, there's your partner, and then there's the entity of you and your partner. Each of them have needs, and each of them need to have those needs met. And when you start a relationship, you basically enmesh on a large amount, most of the time. And that becomes, so all your problems mix with the problems of your partner. Normally you pick a partner who will play out all of your problems and all of your good stuff in some way. So today's problem that we've been resolving is that I go way too fast and he goes way too slow, and it causes so many problems. In fact, it's got to the point where I am now burnt out. I feel as if I've got chronic fatigue. It's just like the life is just sucked out of you. And over the past couple of weeks, I've had like bouts of where I've felt really, really weak and not had any energy, because I think that's when the game has been triggered. And as soon now, because I'm on such low energy, I think as soon as the game's triggered, I'm down and out. I'm out of energy. And the game is triggered in so many hugely covert ways. There's so many covert ways it's triggered. It can just be like me asking him, oh, can you just hold the baby for a second? And him saying, oh, hold on, I've got to brush my teeth. I've got to go to the toilet. I've just got to put my shoes on, take my shoes off. For me, that triggers the game. And then suddenly I start the rush. I start rushing around trying to do tons of things too fast all at once. And it comes from the childhood trauma. The childhood trauma is that I want to live in the future. Because as a child, I could not face the reality. It was too painful to bear. I had to force myself into the future. As a child, I spent most of my childhood waiting until I could go to university. Just off in my imagination, just dreaming of a certain life that I really wanted that I wasn't receiving at the time. And I think for him, he had similar trauma, but it displays itself as him being so slow, because slow is another way of avoiding reality. And then we become attracted to each other because I want to play out the fast game, he wants to play out the slow game. We end up in a relationship together. So the universe forces us back into our real balance, what we really should be, which is I shouldn't really be wanting to not face reality. I should be enjoying life, and so should he. So he should be probably a little bit faster with what he does, and I should be a little bit slower. And in fact, I made some notes. So when this plays out, so are you one of these people that plays the too fast, too slow game in your life? So for example, I made some notes. So if you're experiencing, I've had lots of people tell me in my life, slow down. And my sister, one of my sisters, who I think dumped a lot of her gunk on me, has the same issue. She goes too fast. This is your shadow, basically. So when it shows up in your life, either people telling you you're moving too fast, or you have slow people in your life that irritate the hell out of you, which I do. I have both of those situations. It's your shadow. It's your shadow coming up to tell you that you're out of balance. You're misaligned with who you really are. And what you need to do is realign yourself. And that realignment, unfortunately, is incredibly painful. And that's what I've been going through with said boyfriend this morning. It's even worse when you have a 6-month-old baby to deal with. But we're pushing through it, and we're wanting to get to the bottom of this. Although it's a process of forever digging. But there should come a time when actually this digging gets enjoyable. So I said, I've got a partner who's as slow as a snail. This had led me to do more jobs, more work than I should do, to the point of exhaustion. The problem gets so severe and I'm so exhausted that the lazy person has to step in and pick up the pieces, which is what he's had to do. He has to step in when I say, I literally can't move, I can't do any more. He has to step in and pick up the pieces. And there's one important point to make, and that is that both parties are to blame. For a long time, he would blame me for being exhausted, for doing too much. And I'd be pointing the finger saying, it's your fault, you don't do enough. But we're both enabling the game in each other. We're both enablers. I enable him to play the slow game because I play the fast game, and vice versa. So what's the solution? What do you do when you're playing this slow, fast game, which is incredibly toxic? It's sucking the life out of you. One is to identify when triggers are happening. That is extremely difficult. You have to be watching every single thing you're saying, watching your behavior constantly, and then identifying them and basically nipping them in the bud before they have a chance to unfold again and you're caught in the same vicious cycle. Another thing is to figure out a plan with your partner. Hopefully you're with someone, you're in a relationship, whether that be a friendship or a romantic relationship, whereby that partner is willing to grow. I think I'm lucky enough to say that currently he is willing to embrace these things and to grow. We are on different levels at the moment, neither level better than the other, both divine, everything divine. But you need to figure out an action plan with your partner, basically, which is what we've been doing this morning after not horrible arguments, but just so frustrating. Oh, it's so painful. It's a mixture of frustration, pain, anger. It's the emotions that got shoved in there to create the problem are coming out now. That's what resolving the problem does. When you're a child, the emotions are stuffed in, the trauma happens, you experience those emotions, because you don't understand what's going on. And then later on in life, if you choose to resolve it, if you choose to do any shadow work, it's pulled out and you have to re-experience those emotions. It's horrible. So I guess that's all I'll say for now. I'll keep this one short. Bye.